Hello, I'm Janet Burkhart, and I get to do the gardening here at St. Andrew Presbyterian Church. And Michael McClure, my good friend, has helped me early on, and he said he had on his wish list to make a biblical garden. So we started in 2008 and dug up this first section. So when Michael and I dug this first section in 2008, this mulberry tree wasn't there. It planted itself, and fortunately, mulberry is part of what grows in biblical lands. So we left it in there. When we put plants in this first section, we started with herbs. And so you have here a lovely green herb called rue, which smells yuck. And then we have what's blooming right now are garlic chives and oregano is already bloomed. This is an authentic mint from Bible Lands, which smells nasty, nothing like our peppermint. And then we have thyme and lavender, kind of all entwined there with each other. And then we have a variety of hyssop, although it's kind of up for grabs as to what hyssop really means in the Bible and in references. And the last herb we have here is sage, which is not very happy this year. This one looks pretty good right here, but for whatever reason, it's not been very happy. Now over here, I walked past Solomon's seal. Now we have plants in our biblical garden that have references to things in the Bible, and supposedly if you tear off one of these leaves, the inside of the stalk looks like Solomon's seal, Solomon in the Bible. And then we have a whole bunch of Lenten roses, and you know what? They know pretty well when Lent is going to start because they start blooming at that time. Over here, we have a hosta. Now this is not native to Bible lands, but it's called praying hands hosta because the way the leaves are always folded up. One last plant, which is not in bloom right now, but when it's in bloom, it has a little bloom inside of what looks like a little boat. And so this is called sometimes Moses in the cradle or Moses in the boat. In the spring of 2009, Michael and I dug the rest of the section of the Bible garden, which you will see. He wanted to make it in the shape of a Celtic cross. In this section of the biblical garden, I'm starting with the passion flower vine, which I hope maybe next year will bloom and we'll see the passion flower. This is chicory. You're all familiar with that lovely weed, we call it. But the leaves are used for teas and things. Next is a little baby olive tree. And then over here we have a dwarf pomegranate. Now this would get really big, and we have chosen to do a lot of dwarf plants here just because we have to move them inside. You can see they're in pots and they stay inside during the winter. Moving over here, this nice big tall green thing is lemongrass. Some of you may have used lemongrass in your recipes. And then we have two wonderful castor bean trees. Now, they're not getting enough sunlight here, but in Bible lands, they would get a lot of sunlight, and we think that they are the tree that sheltered Jonah in his distress. I'm going to pick this one up. It's not doing very well. This is a dwarf papyrus. They like to have a lot of sun. They like to grow with their roots in water. We don't have either of those right here. So it's a little bit unhappy, but this is what paper and many other things were made from. These two plants are called lily of the Nile. And when they bloom, they have a lovely purple flower, and I'm hoping maybe by next year this one will be old enough to do that. Right here, this is the bay laurel. It will grow big enough to be a tree, and if you look down at these leaves, you'll recognize them as leaves that we like to use in soups. And speaking of eating things, you can see we have some nice cucumbers growing here. And now we have representatives of the citrus family. Now in this section, I'm going to start with the grapevine, which has already kind of come and gone. Doesn't look very good right now, but hopefully it'll have nice grapes next year. And right next to it is supposed to be a dwarf fig. And it's gotten quite tall. Then we have right down here, these are yellow iris, or we call them yellow flags. Thank you, Michael. And we have next to me the dwarf date palm. Sometimes it's called the pygmy palm. Never had any dates yet, but we're just happy that it has lovely green fronds on it. And over here, not a native of Bible lands, but this is called a prayer plant. You're probably familiar with that. Florists like to use it in their groups of flowers. The leaves will curl up a bit like praying hands in the evening. Down here we've got all sorted varieties of onions and leeks and garlic. And then we come over here, and the caterpillars have had a great time here with the bronze fennel. Now the bronze fennel should look like this, but it also be bronzy color. But we like our caterpillars, so I don't mind if they want to eat and eat and eat and grow bigger. Now right here we have a mallow. This is a plant that's not native to Bible lands, but it's called Job's Tears, and you can kind of see why it might get that name. It seeds itself every year. This is an ornamental variety of millet. Millet is one of the grains, like wheat and barley, that you read about in the Bible. And then right next to it we have cotton plant, which is just finished blooming right here. And you can start to see the cotton boll down here. This rose that's right next to me is an heirloom rose called the damask or damask rose. It is thought that roses were brought from the Holy Land by the Crusaders, and this is probably one of those. And the bushy one over there is apothecary rose, and they only bring their blooms in the springtime, but they're beautiful and lovely smelling. And right next to this wonderful companion cat, we have the lotus or the water lily. And again, it really doesn't get enough sun now to bloom for us, but we do have nice leaves. Thank you for joining us in this tour of our biblical garden here at St. Andrew Presbyterian Church. I hope you enjoyed the tour as much as I enjoyed taking you through the garden.